Multiple times that Eric Trump has tweeted to buy the dips. Then Donald Trump tweets about tariffs absolutely nuking the crypto market, causing altcoins to drop over the past month, 20, 30, 40, upwards of some of these 50%. And when Eric Trump makes these tweets, well, most people think it's just a coincidence. Well, the last time that Eric Trump tweeted to buy the dips was on September 26th at 5:49 p.m. That was right when the altcoin market was at $1.5 trillion. And while he wasn't wrong, technically the altcoin market did go up. Shortly after that, we saw one of the biggest liquidation events in history. Well, it was actually the biggest liquidation event in history, dropping 30% from that high. So this caused billions of dollars of leverage traders to pile into the market, completely getting flushed. And it seems to be that Donald Trump, his dad, is playing games with these tariff tweets out there. When the market is attempting to make a recovery, like what we've seen happen recently off of those lows, then we get sold right back to the downside. So is there something much more scandalous going on with the Trumps? Because an anonymous insider has been opening up massive short and long positions just minutes before Trump's tweets, with one trade profiting over $100 million, another trade profiting over $88 million. This is not just some random retail trader here. We're talking about $192 million in total profit here with impeccable timing to these tweets. So the real question isn't if that wallet's an insider, it's really which insider is it? And I made a video 9 months ago talking about how a trader turned $400 into over $5 million through Trump's meme coin and how you could do it tracking insider wallets. So in this video, we have some powerful information to share with you. With Bitcoin's dominance close to 60%, tons of people saying that Bitcoin is going to drop below $100,000. The crypto fear and greed index is at 29 right now in fear. Well, we have to break down what's happening on the charts because with the noise and conflicting opinions out there about what's about to happen next, we need to look at the facts. And so I'm going to break down what's happened with gold, with crypto, with Bitcoin, Bitcoin's Delta top model, and what has happened every single time that the top has come in and what it's showing right now, plus what the top topping indicators are currently saying in some of the most powerful charts that I have ever seen that can give us a better understanding of what's happening in this market cycle, how much time we have left, and what you can do to be able to make the most amount of money possible. Because if you're late to this bull run and you bought the peak and your portfolio is currently down, then what I have to share with you is going to completely change the game. And I'll prove it to you in a little bit. So comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish, and if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. If you have 10K or more in crypto, you're literally giving up an extra $300 per month in passive income. You're giving up on a free 3 to 8% additional monthly yield just because it's sitting on an exchange like Coinbase or Binance and you're being lazy. You're taught to hodl, just wait for price appreciation, and this is costing you thousands of dollars. So let's see what happens here. While your assets are sitting there doing absolutely nothing and inflation is kicking your ass. For example, Ethereum didn't do anything over the course of 3 months. XRP didn't do anything over a whole year. And Solana, same thing. It didn't do anything for an even longer period of time while you sat there making no money. And I'm not saying that these are bad investments. It's quite the opposite, actually. But the smartest investors in the world make their crypto work for them to generate additional yield. And why would you not do that? You're holding these crypto assets anyways. It's like buying a rental property and not renting it out. If you hold on to the property because you believe that it's going to appreciate in value over years, why wouldn't you rent it out so someone else can pay your mortgage while you still get the value appreciation? So it makes no sense to just hold your crypto without earning yield on your idle coins. And if you're just holding your crypto on exchanges like Coinbase, your assets aren't safe. In fact, Coinbase was hacked for $400 million and the hackers bribed Coinbase employees so they could access sensitive user information, demanding a $20 million ransom from Coinbase, which the company refused to pay.
I want to make you aware of a disturbing email that we received recently at Coinbase. It was a ransom note demanding $20 million in Bitcoin in exchange for these attackers not releasing some information they claim to have obtained on our customers. I'm going to respond publicly to these attackers by saying no. We are not going to pay your ransom.
And I even received a letter in the mail saying that my information was included in that hack. So I'm speaking from firsthand experience here, not just an article that I read online. So not only are you leaving free money on the table by not earning yield on your idle crypto, but you're also putting yourself at risk of losing it all, getting hacked, or having your account frozen by keeping your crypto on centralized exchanges. Because if it's not your keys, it's not your crypto. You already know this, so I don't have to tell you. You can't afford to be lazy with your capital. The US is drowning in nearly $40 trillion in debt. So this is your insurance against the system. To learn how you can earn passive income on your coins every single day while protecting your capital from hacks or scammers, my research team put together a step-by-step tutorial for you to start earning yield on your crypto today, and it takes less than 10 minutes to get set up. All you need to do is go to altcoinpro.com after you're done watching this video, create your account, and click on the Start Here lesson under the classroom, and you'll discover how one liquidity pool is earning our members up to 40% yield on digital assets that they already own. Plus, you can go into the DeFi yield picks and see even more opportunities to earn passive income on your coins safe and predictably with complete control and ownership of your assets. You will make significantly more money by being your own bank. And all you need to do is go to altcoinpro.com to get started right now. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So the majority of investors that don't understand what I'm going to share with them throughout the course of this video are going to get absolutely cooked in the crypto market. And if you're not getting cooked yet already with this beautiful red light therapy session we're getting right here, basking in the glory of these minus 30 to 60% drops in these altcoins here, well, it's about to get a lot crazier because with the Federal Reserve having their FOMC meeting in 6 days and 17 hours from right now, there's a 97% expectation of rate cuts. And by December's meeting, over 96% rate cuts as well. So why would the markets be dropping if the Fed is lowering interest rates? Well, could it have anything to do with market manipulation? We're going to talk about it over the next few minutes. So I thought this was a really interesting post here on X from Board to Bore here, talking about Eric Trump's tweets, because shortly after these tweets would post, insiders would make millions of dollars. Where Eric Trump would make these tweets at great points on the chart. For example, this one right here on the 25th of February, the market would recover, but then it would shortly sell off right after that. And then we see these aggressive rallies up followed by massive selling to the downside, faking out a lot of investors that think we're going to make a recovery. And then we see this crazy manipulation here. Another tweet right here on August 17th of this year saying to buy the dips was made right here roughly when the altcoin market was at roughly $1.58 trillion. The market pumped to the upside and then was met by an aggressive sell-off to the downside, faking out a lot of investors that thought we were going to go to a new all-time high, and then making a new low, stopping out a lot of long traders. And then the infamous most recent one was in September, right here at a really good point at the low, so the market makes a recovery, back to the high, fakes out a lot of investors, and then gets slammed off down to the downside. So it seems the majority of times that Eric Trump tweets this, the market makes a recovery, it's at a good point, so technically he's not wrong, it's a good dip, but then we see aggressive selling pressure to the downside. And even in February, Eric tweeted to add Ethereum. Within a couple months, Ethereum dropped over 50%. Billions were wiped out. Everyone called it bad luck or just bad timing, where most people didn't realize that we were in a downtrend here, just forming lower lows and lower highs ever since the main pullback that took place after the 17th of December of 2024. So Ethereum was in this aggressive downtrend here. And the investors that don't understand what I'm going to share with you in this video that just listened to Eric Trump making these tweets would get completely blindsided seeing their portfolios drop, 20, 30, 40, 50%, even if they bought the dip. Because this dip right here, let's say you bought Ethereum at $2,500, well, you would have dropped 44% from that dip. So the dip just keeps on dipping. So what do you do in a scenario like that? Rather than listening to politicians or politicians' family members and just getting dumped on time and time again, especially when Donald Trump announces that China and the United States are talking, then he comes out and says, well, I don't like what China's doing, so we're still going to impose a tariff. Isn't it coincidental how some of Eric's tweets come out just hours before Trump's tariff announcements? It's the same playbook at a different time, but it's the same outcome. And the fact that an anonymous trader opened shorts right before these announcements is just too strange to call it a coincidence here. So this is where a lot of people are claiming that someone within Trump's inner circle or family knew about this before Trump was going to shake up the market and place these shorts, having insider knowledge here, which I don't know if this is technically illegal because it's just based on tweets, but the ethics of this are highly questionable. And all the investors that bought into Trump's meme coin at the peak are now down over 90% from the high. I mean, looking at this chart right here, the bleeding just won't stop. This is such an aggressive downtrend here that anyone who still holds Trump coin has just seen their portfolio bleed out over and over again. So what do you do when influencers or even politicians like, Trump's wife, she launched her coin shortly after that and it dumped over 85%. And I think it's down 99% or something like that. Just nuking closer and closer to zero. I mean, look at this chart. It's so bad that you have to zoom in here like a microscope to even find the low. And it just keeps nuking further down. At a 72 million market cap, virtually nobody is buying Melania with no hopes of recovery here because she's just going to move on to the next product launch, causing a lot of people to question the Trump's family's true intentions, rightfully so. And even World Liberty Fi is down over 50%. And even if you're counting from this wick here, I mean, it's down over 65%. With massive insider wallets unloading their bags. And on-chain proves this here. This is not me spreading FUD. Big buyers buy in early, then slowly sell off into green candles, causing a slow destruction of a chart where it's then blamed on macro market conditions. So you cannot beat this game unless you change your strategy. Because if you're buying into the next influencer coin or celebrity coin, these are not about fundamentals here. They're about milking hype and attention from the influence that that celebrity has. And Trump's brand is the biggest hype machine in the world. I mean, look at Lil Pump even launched a coin. The price dropped 98%, 6ix9ine, 50 Cent, Iggy Azalea, Offset, Rich the Kid, Trippie Redd, Designer, Sway Lee, Jason Derulo, Doja Cat, Soulja Boy. So if you want to make money with these celebrities launching these coins, well, one of the best playbooks is to short the crap out of rappers. Because all these people that are artists here, their coins are down 90 to 99%. And they will never recover. So if you don't know how to short the market and you're just buying in spot hoping for a chart to recover, then here's the harsh truth that you need to hear. Otherwise, you're going to be cooked forever. No community effort will revive a chart of a celebrity that stops posting about their coin. No utility is going to come for most of these coins. Now, I get it. Some coins might be different, but the vast majority aren't. So rule number one is to snipe them only. The only way to win is by being faster than everyone else, which is extremely difficult. But you can use certain sniping tools. Our team talks about this stuff inside of Altcoin Pro University, and we share these institutional strategies on our live weekly calls that you can attend underneath the calendar. You can even go into the classroom and you can dive through hundreds of videos talking about everything that you need to know about crypto and even how to vet projects, because rule number 2 is to avoid the trap. You know, if you're not a pro sniper, don't even touch a coin launched by a celebrity, an influencer, or a politician. Treat these celebrity launches like radioactive waste, shiny on the surface but deadly inside. And overall, just be careful what narratives you buy into, because everyone's going to tell you this time it's different, this one has utility. And while in rare cases that's true with new projects launching, the majority of the time new tokens are launched to extract liquidity from retail investors. And while a lot of people will call me a mask-wearing liberal for making a video like this, the fact of the matter is this. World Liberty Fi is down over 50%. Trump coin is down over 90%. Melania is down so much that I can't even put my cursor on it. It's like 99 point something percent. And you just have to zoom in so far on this thing to see how bad it really gets, with no bottom in sight here. And Eric Trump continuously tweeting to buy the dips. Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because once Bitcoin dominance breaks 60%, Ben Cowan is saying that it should move up very quickly. Now, we've been talking about Bitcoin's dominance here for a while and what would need to happen for altcoins to make a recovery, because in order for Trump, Melania, World Liberty Fi, and arguably the rest of the altcoin market to even make an aggressive recovery, we would need to see Bitcoin's dominance drop. And if Bitcoin's dominance continues to go up, that just means altcoins are going to bleed out more to Bitcoin. It doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin goes up, because Bitcoin could still technically go down while Bitcoin's dominance goes up. It just means that altcoins like Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Chainlink, you name it, would go down more than Bitcoin. Now, before you freak out and panic, I wanted to splash you in the face with some cold water to start this video out, because virtually nobody in the space will tell you the truth. And so I'm going to tell you the truth in this video. I'm going to show you the facts, and we're going to talk about some likely scenarios to happen next. So, as Bitcoin's dominance continues to climb higher, we can see on the weekly chart that the stochastic RSI is at 68 and 48 in positive momentum here. We're not in overbought conditions yet, which shows that on the weekly, Bitcoin's dominance could continue much higher until we see the stochastic RSI get closer to 100, or at least above 80. We're not there yet. Also, the relative strength index is at 46, so we're not in overbought territory at all on Bitcoin's dominance, which shows that Bitcoin is a safer play right now than altcoins. And Standard Charter is actually expecting Bitcoin to fall below $100,000 with this trade war, and saying that the drop may be short-lived. So before you panic and sell all your crypto, we need to talk about what's happening with gold, with the recent weakness triggering a Bitcoin buying frenzy, and also Bitcoin staying above its 50-week EMA since 2023, where this dip could actually be an amazing buying opportunity. Because right now on CoinMarketCap, the crypto fear and greed index is at 29. If we look right here, the last time we were down at these levels was all the way back here in February 2025 until April. We even dipped all the way down here into extreme fear. So you can see this fluctuates between extreme greed up here from 80 to 100 and extreme fear from 20 to 0. So we could go a little bit lower on the crypto fear and greed index, but the closer and closer that we get to extreme fear, the better buying opportunity on the macro that we face. The closer and closer that we get to extreme greed, the better selling opportunity. So if you really simplify these markets down, a lot of people are going to get wrecked because they're going to sell all of their crypto if we get down here into extreme fear, and then we're going to see the market make an aggressive recovery to the upside. And we just witnessed history. Yesterday, gold's prices fell 5.7%, marking the largest one-day drop since April of 2013. In other words, this large of a move only happens 1 out of 240,000 days in a normal world. So what does this mean? Well, statistically speaking, gold's move was near a 5 sigma event. And however, in reality, gold has seen a move of this magnitude only 34 times since 1971. So in other words, this occurs in 34 out of over 13,000 trading days, or 0.26% of the time. So it's extremely rare. It's only 20% of 1%. So a fraction of 1%. And silver prices were hit even harder. Silver fell as much as 9% in a single day and posted its largest daily decline since the 2020 crash. And gold and silver neared $3 trillion in lost market cap in just over a 24-hour period of trade. But we can't ignore what happened before this. Before yesterday's crash, gold and silver posted their best rally in over 40 years. Silver was up as much as 85% year to date, and gold was nearing 70% year to date returns. So still, silver and gold are up 67% and 55% respectively, more than 4 times the S&P 500's return. So a drop was overdue. I also talked about this 2 days ago with the title of the video saying get out of gold here because gold was drastically overvalued. And sure enough, right after that, gold took that massive dump and silver took the massive dump. So the gold inflows the past 10 weeks were a clear leading indicator that a drop was coming here. This was obvious. Now in hindsight, most people didn't see it, but in the week ending October 10th, gold and silver funds posted $8.2 billion in net inflows, the second largest inflow on record. This followed a record $9.5 billion seen in the prior weeks. So the trade was extremely overcrowded here. Everyone was piling, everyone was buying. The greed was at an all-time high. And meanwhile, gold was up for 9 straight weeks for the 5th time in history. Gold has never posted 10 straight weekly gains here. So in the previous 4 times this happened, gold ended up an average of 13% lower 2 months later. So what's next after the first blow to a historic run, and what does this mean for the crypto market and for the altcoin market? So based on what the Kobisi letter put here, I thought this was a great breakdown. Gold remains fundamentally strong here. In fact, it has only improved over the last few days. Amidst the government data blackout, alternative metrics show U.S. inflation at 2.6%. This marks the 5th consecutive monthly increase in these alternative metrics. And meanwhile, institutional capital is still piling into the commodity. 25% of investors surveyed by Goldman Sachs say their favorite trade is longing gold, the highest reading for the 2nd consecutive month. So this is higher than longing AI stocks, which stands at 18% of respondents, or longing Bitcoin, which is actually the lowest right now, which could signal a contrarian trade here, the lower that this long Bitcoin interest becomes and the higher that this long gold interest becomes, because the masses that invest in the market get cooked because they follow each other like sheep. And as the sheep fall off the ledge, once you get to the edge, by then it's too late because the sheep behind you will push you off, and it's just such strong tribalism energy that you can't stop yourself from falling off the edge. Unless you subscribe to the BULLRUNNERS channel, where we are going to be protecting investors from what's coming next. Because on top of this, central banks are stocking up on gold while disregarding technicals. On October 13th, gold posted its highest monthly RSI reading in history at 91.8. Physical gold demands this year have proven that buyers are ignoring technicals, and that's normal because we see these periods where we see these blow-off tops, the RSI gets overvalued, we see the short-term pullback, then we see bearish divergences start to play out over time. So we were due for a short-term pullback, but it could be likely that gold continues higher after this pullback is done. And all of this is happening as the US simply keeps on printing more money. By as soon as Friday, total US debt is set to cross above $38 trillion for the first time in history. And it even happened sooner than Friday. We're already over $38 trillion. So this marked a $400 billion jump this month, or $25 billion per day. And lastly, global M2 money supply is about to hit $140 trillion. In just 6 months, global M2 money supply has surged $8 trillion. So investors are completely losing confidence in the US dollar here. And a lot of people don't like these videos because I just spit the truth here. In fact, 2 days ago, on October 20th right here, in this video that says to get out of gold, this video was posted at 10 a.m. that day. Right here when gold was at $4,320 per ounce. And after that video was made, gold went up about 1.2%, topped out and then dropped between 8 to 9%. And if we look all the way back here from the 17th of October, Bitcoin bottomed out at $104,000, rallied over 9% while gold sold off. So this caused a lot of people to speculate that the sell-off in gold would cause a massive rally in Bitcoin, and rightfully so. I did talk about this in another video, but if we zoom in even further here back to August of 2020, when gold pulled back from over $2,000, within a matter of 50 days, gold dropped 11% and then continued down. Well, during that first initial drop, where gold plunged about 10% in 6 days, we saw Bitcoin at the bottom of the screen rally up about 6%, and then Bitcoin even continued higher for another 12 days, 10%, and then Bitcoin saw this sell-off of 21%, and then took over 70 days to break out to a new high, while gold just continuously put in here at the top of the screen lower highs and lower lows, all the way down to $1,600. While Bitcoin was breaking out to a new high, gold was selling off. So at first, it's a tricky environment to trade here because yes, Bitcoin did rally after that, but it dropped 21% while gold was selling off 11%. Then gold continued further down and liquidity rotated into Bitcoin shortly after that. So I'm going to dive into exactly what to look for on the charts to protect yourself, to prepare yourself, and to know what's coming next. Because there's no perfect model, but all of these models combined together can give us confluence of some likely scenarios to happen next. For example, the Bitcoin Delta Top model shows that we have never topped without Bitcoin surpassing its Delta Top model. Every single bull run cycle prior, Bitcoin's price has gone above the Delta Top model in green here. And currently right now, Bitcoin is well below the Delta Top model. And on top of that, on CoinGlass.com, with the bull market peak indicators here that I've covered in a previous video, that say you'd be selling at the top, 0 out of 30 are saying that we're at the top. They're all saying to hold right now, that it's not time to sell. So use this information at your own risk here. It would just be very strange for the markets to go into a bear market and for Bitcoin to not experience a bounce to end this bull run right now. So could Bitcoin's next rally shake the world to its core? Well, we've seen these models pop up here. This one right here with the DEMA showing this cross right here at the bottom of the screen below the 0 line. And each time this cross has happened here, we've seen Bitcoin sell off and roughly around that and rally to new highs. So we just saw this cross just recently here. We're at the bottom. We're not at the top here. And we're rotating around like we've done every single time in the past that Bitcoin has exploded to the upside. So does that mean that Bitcoin's going to go to the upside? Well, not necessarily, but it's another model that we can just add in our resource book to look at here. Also, in my video 9 hours ago, I talked about the top 5 elite crypto coins that will make millionaires. And I also talked in this video about the business cycle here from tech dev and then these different models here on how we could be going into an expanded business cycle where it's not a cookie cutter topping process. It's more of just a slow grind up as we see these long consolidation periods, comparing it back to, Amazon, Apple, or Microsoft after the dot-com bubble boom and how we just went up only, but there were these economic shocks on the way up here. And so I thought this model was pretty interesting because it's never been the 4-year Bitcoin cycle. It's never been the halving. It's always been the business cycle, according to TechDev, that previously inflects every 4-ish years right near the halving. And we're not at the top of it. We're at the bottom here. And we've just been dropping in terms of the business cycle here, lower and lower and lower. So obviously we don't go down forever and we don't go up forever too. So one of the main indicators that we're using is the EMA 50 on the weekly here. And so yes, Bitcoin could sell off further to the downside. The main support to watch here is this 50 EMA in red, which right now is about $100,000, depending on, how long Bitcoin takes in this downtrend before we see a bounce. It would likely act as the next support, just like it did back here and just like it did back here before we see a bounce back to the upside. But if this level breaks at around $100,000 to $102,000 and we start doing something like this for Bitcoin, then that right there, in my opinion, would be the curtain call for the bull run to be over, because we have held this as support this entire bull run, and we held above it the majority of the last bull run. This was a little fake out right here on this candle body close, but it was aggressively bought up above it. So it wasn't until the 3rd of January until the 21st of March where multiple weekly candle body close happened below the 50 EMA that the bull run was completely over. And this last ditched attempt recovery right here was just a lower high in this downtrend as we then continued to the bear market low. It was the same thing back here in 2018. We sold off to it, used it as support, and then we saw these candle body closes below it, attempted recovery in this downtrend, and then multiple candle body closes below it, and then these last ditch efforts here in the downtrend to make a recovery that was just a series of lower highs in this downtrend to continue to the bear market low. So in my opinion here, just based on the data, I would want to see this level hold. We could see a little period below it, but I would want to see an aggressive buy up like what we saw happen back here on the 7th of April if we continue lower for Bitcoin. What I don't want to see is multiple weeks of the price closing below this, because then this would just be met by a series of lower highs here in a downtrend to continue to a bear market low. So this brings me to what I talked about on Monday inside of our accelerator program calls here inside of Altcoin Pro. When you click the link in the description below, I broke down the XRP, the US dollar price chart on the 4-hour here, and I talked about how we were going to face resistance here and likely a sell-off to the downside because of what was happening on the stochastic RSI on the 4-hour chart. So let's just look at the chart and see what happened. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. You can see the stochastic RSI. It was all the way up here in overbought conditions. Very similar to what we saw happen back here, the middle of this month, from October 12th to October 14th. While the price was all the way up here, XRP's price was rallying up. We saw the stochastic RSI form a bearish cross, and then momentum completely shifted from bullish momentum to bearish momentum, exactly as described here. So this is why it's extremely important to pay close attention to what we talk about inside of Altcoin Pro, because our goal here is not to hype you guys up. It's to prepare you. I know the titles and the thumbnails get aggressive here. Okay, that's to get you to click the video. But when you watch these videos, you'll see that we do our best to talk about the facts here. So what are the facts of the matters right now? It's not what Trump's posting. It's not what's happening on Twitter, your favorite influencer, and what they're talking about. It's what the charts are showing us. So on the 4-hour chart, we can see the stochastic RSI is in oversold conditions. We're at 0.90 and 0.71, and we flatline down here on the 4-hour chart, which is a really good sign. Now, XRP is still in a downtrend here, forming, lower highs and lower lows. So what I would do here is not just based it on the 4-hour chart. I would zoom in a little bit further. I would go into the 1-hour chart, and we could look at what's happening on the stochastic and the relative strength index. So we're still in this downtrend. We see aggressive selling pressure. XRP is attempting to make a bounce right here, just being met most likely by a lower high in this downtrend here. So I would expect this to likely have a high likelihood of getting rejected here, and the relative strength index to turn back to the downside. Same thing with the stochastic RSI. And I would only get more bullish on XRP if we clear this support, which is now going to be resistance at roughly $2.40, because you can see back here, it was resistance on the 19th of October. It acted as support right here on the 21st of October, and now it's acting as resistance right here on the 22nd of October. So if XRP, breaks up into this zone, this is the zone to watch for us to continue this downtrend to sweep out these lows all the way down here and potentially even come back down to $2.20. So this is where I would watch on the daily time frame for the stochastic RSI to reset on the daily, because right now we're at 69 and 68, attempting to form a bearish cross. And so if XRP continues to the downside here, I would want to see the stochastic RSI reset back down closer to 0, and also the relative strength index here. I'd want to see it drop down closer to 30, or even get all the way down here like 20 to 15 here. I want to see it get real spooky, okay? We're getting close to Halloween. I want to see some spooky shit. That's what I want to see here. I want to see the stochastic RSI scare the crap out of everybody. That's where I get excited. I want to see the relative strength index have everyone crap their pants on it. I want to see it get down here to 15, because we haven't been down here since really December of 2019. That was only down to 20. So who knows if we'll get down there? It might not happen. We might just dip down to 20. We might not even drop that low. But that's the best buying opportunity ever, because on the crypto fear and greed index, we're only at fear right now. We're not in like haunted house, poltergeist, like you're questioning if it's actually a real haunted house type of fear here. We need real spooky shit to take place here to get aggressively bullish in the market. And so on the hour to hour, the minute to minute, it's anyone's guess what's going to happen next, but we're going to remain in this downtrend until we see a change of trend. And that would be flipping of $2.40 here for XRP then to potentially come back up to $2.54. So the selling pressure to the downside is stronger. The likelihood of a continuation down is stronger. So the bears have the upper hand right now. Now that may change when the government finally opens their doors again, because with these XRP ETFs, Grayscale ETF was delayed due to the government shutdown, so there's no decision. 21 shares was delayed. Bitwise is pending review, but it's probably delayed. Canary Capital, there's no decision yet. CoinShares is delayed. Wisdom Tree is pending/delayed. And so there's no major approvals or announcements of an XRP ETF yet. As expected, what coincidental timing, right? But Ripple will be handing over 126 million XRP to be locked up and traded for company shares. And we're nearing in on the final days before the ISO 222 migration date in November takes place.
For me, my final message is that ISO 20022 and the migration and the end date for November 2025 is critical. It's critical for domestic and cross-border interoperability, and really will support all of the community to deliver more rich and structured data and really optimize our cross-border payments processing.
So looking at the XRP, the US dollar price chart on the weekly here, we're at a very key point with the 50 EMA on the weekly. We're right at it right now. And so if XRP closes below this, it could be a curtain call for XRP. I mean, last few bull runs, we saw XRP hold on top of this. And right when it was intersecting the 50 EMA, we saw this explosion to the upside with this aggressive green candle. So if we don't see this explosion in November or December, and XRP does what it did back here on the 29th of November, where we see, the candle close below the 50 EMA, attempt a recovery above it, and then just a slow bleed out using the 50 EMA, then this would be a massive warning sign if XRP does this. I mean, if we see XRP close below it and then consolidate below the 50 EMA and use it as resistance like this, then I would err you on the side of caution here that XRP could be entering into a bear market. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear because everyone was expecting XRP to break out right here at the end of September. And I'm not saying that this scenario is going to play out either, but you just have to be prepared for it. You can't be a delusional, hyped up person here. One thing to note though on the weekly that does get me a little more excited is that the stochastic RSI is attempting to bottom here. We're at 6 and 0. We could go a little bit lower here while XRP either holds on top of the 50 or trades a little bit below it, and then we see an aggressive buy-up take place. So I want to see an aggressive buy-up happen here soon. What I don't want to see is what happened back here from the 29th of November to the 28th of March, where XRP just didn't reclaim the 50 EMA. Because if you look at the Bitcoin price chart, it was the exact same thing for Bitcoin. Bitcoin broke below the 50 EMA, didn't reclaim it, dropped all the way down here. A lot of people sold right here. If you're still in the markets, you wait for a complacency stage recovery bounce right here to the 28th of March. You watch the stochastic RSI. You see how we get up here closer to, 100. We're at 80. We see a bearish cross. Same thing for XRP. You watch the stochastic RSI and then you sell into this strength here. You sell into this strength here because we lost the 50 EMA on the weekly chart. Is going to be one of the most important things that you guys watch this bull run. So right now I get it that things aren't looking so hot and that we could continue a little bit lower, but it's not over just yet. So the people that are saying it's over, well, it's not. We could see an aggressive buy up. Bitcoin could go to a new all-time high, but we do need to watch the 50 EMA because we're at it right now for XRP. So this is a critical inflection point here. If this gets bought up and we see a recovery back to the upside, it's highly likely that we do see a bounce at some point on the 4-hour chart because we're down here pretty much at 0 on the stochastic RSI. So even if XRP continues a little lower, I would expect there to be a bounce. So we'll revisit this in a video in a few days from right now, and we'll see what takes place. But until then, I highly encourage you guys, go into the classroom here through the link in the description below, click on the technical analysis essentials, and go through these 28 videos so you can better understand how to use logic when making your investing decisions. Because if you're just using emotion, if you're just in buying based on someone's tweet or someone's video saying to go all in, and you don't know how to look at charts yourself, then you're going to continue to get cooked your entire investing journey. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be as profitable as possible. So check out Altcoin Pro University. I know you're going to love it. If you don't, we have a 14-day money-back guarantee. And our research team has called some of the top projects over the past few years when they were at amazing entry points. For example, our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap or 16 cents back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, This is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below. Get in right now. Watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.